Hi, and welcome to Along the Way with Amy. I'm Amy, and today we're going to be talking with Grace. This is Grace. Grace, hello, Grace. Grace, to be fair, Grace and I have known each other for about 2.5 years, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
And we met when I was invited to go to a Lions Club making sandwiches for the homeless, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and that's where we met.
That's right.
So, Grace is willing to talk about the fact that she's about to turn 80. Is that right, Grace?
That's right. November.
November. Very exciting.
It really is.
It is. I'm excited for you. And you are one of the most active people that I know. Of any age of people that I know.
Okay.
No, really, I'm serious. And I think you're fabulous. I think you're fabulous. So, let's get started here. Is there anything that you think that we should know about you before we start talking about anything? Anything you'd like us to know about you?
Well, I think that you hit right on it. That I never thought of myself as someone who was going to be 80 years old, and for some reason, it has made a big difference in my life. Just the thought of turning 80, and I feel like we used to say an elder at this point. To have lived this long and lived this well. And the other ages, like when I turned 70, I thought, oh, I was getting old. But for some reason, 80 doesn't feel old.
No?
It feels special.
That's awesome. I like that. It feels special. Not a lot of people make it. Not a lot of people make it that far. What have you discovered that's new that you're interested in that you didn't think you would be, maybe? As you age and you let go of some of your, preconceived notions that you may have had when you were younger, or your concern that people, I know you don't care what people think about you because you have so much self-confidence. I think you're one of the people that has the most self-confidence of anybody that I know. Truly.
I think, yes, that it's very true that it's a point in my life where I don't have to, it isn't that I don't care what people think about me. It's that I'm so comfortable, really comfortable with myself at this point, that I can just be me. And being me seems to work well with people.
You're a good you. I like you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's important. Is there anything you can think about back that made you, maybe a time, something where you kind of went, you know what? I don't really care what they thought, or some event that happened that made you realize that you really did have that self-assuredness, and you really truly weren't, not that you don't care, but that you weren't concerned. It didn't matter to you.
I think it's being comfortable in my own body at 80, comfortable with the wrinkles on my face. I've earned every one of them. I am just that, just very, very comfortable. I feel, silly to say, motherly these days. I feel that when I talk to people, it's talking from a point of view of wisdom, of having lived a long life. Not that I'm giving people advice, it's just that it feels very natural to talk to people about where they are in their life and where I am in my life. And to say just that it's great to get old. It's perfectly okay to be getting old.
Yeah, I mean, you have said that you're happy. You feel kind of excited about it, right?
Yes, it really is. It's exciting. It's exciting.
And you can still try new things, right? Because is there anything new that you've tried? Well, you've become way more interested in the Bible, I guess, recently, right?
Yes, and that's been wonderful for me now because there is so much history in the Bible. I think didn't have a concept. We say these are Iron Age. It was the Iron Age at that point, which, if I had been watching PBS, would mean people in caves. And to learn that no, these were very educated. They were living a different kind of life. And their deep belief, the Jewish people, their deep belief in God. It's just wonderful to study a time period that is so very different and yet isn't different.
It's
Different from everyday life now. And the stories are fun to read. There's a lot. I mean, they would make most soap operas sound like nothing because they were living quite interesting lives. So just learning about a time period that's different. The language is beautiful. And so the history and the language, I'm really enjoying it, studying it. Not from a point of view of religion, but from a point of view of
for
just that
historical.
history.
Yeah.
History and the beauty, just the beauty of the language.
Well, that interests you as well, history, correct? Yeah. And you're quite well traveled. Tell me all the places that you've been.
Oh, my heavens.
That you can think of. Just a few. Because I know you've been all over.
China, Egypt, of course, Europe, all of the British Isles, Ireland being, of course, my favorite. And where else have I gone? Oh, my Greece. So kind of all over.
And you've met tons of people from all over in different facets of life, say, for example.
Definitely. And been very fortunate to have traveled because people are the same everywhere. They're kind, they're interesting, they're living life and just trying to get along just like the rest of us. So that's what I enjoy the most, is traveling and seeing that people are good, they're kind everywhere, and they're bringing up their families and just doing well as anyone possibly can.
In fact, you went to did the Panama Canal cruise.
Oh, yes.
Recently.
That was last year, yes.
And when you came back, I remember talking to you, and you were talking about expatriating somewhere because you enjoyed it so much, the people and the experience, all of it. Is that a thought you've still had? Or are you going to stay here?
I don't know. One of the things that I found was I hit a point where I was bored. And this is not an easy country because if you don't have a lot of family, and I don't, I have a son and daughter-in-law, but no relatives that are still living. I have one aunt that's still living, and that's it. Without a big family around, without things going on, there's nowhere to dance, nowhere to party. And so I was getting bored. So I've found that I've had to reach out and find things to do again that interest me and to be around people that interest me again. But there's still a part of me that finds it difficult because of that. I used to love to dance, love to sing, was in a lot of choral groups. So there was a lot going on, and now there just isn't. I mean, there are things that occur. I live in an RV park, and they're very good about having things like potlucks. But I'm past the point where I find it interesting to talk to people about their grandchildren.
The same
I
mundane, simple
Yeah,
talking.
I want to talk about interesting things. So I was feeling bored, and I still find this a country that's we just don't have the constant festivals and things that
It seems like other countries are so much brighter to me. That's just the way I look at it. It's brighter and more cheery. Like there's so much more color. I feel like America has become dull. Just everything's just the same and dull, and like you said, no one celebrates.
Well, unless if you're young and you have children, then you're going to their sports events, and that's a community.
Correct. But if you don't have that,
If you don't have that, yeah. It
Yeah,
is.
then it's difficult.
But I find we don't dance or sing in this country
no, I think
the
you're
way
right.
they do in
Not the
other
way they do in
countries.
other
So I was
countries, yeah.
feeling bored. So I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Have you thought about, because when we recently took our cruise, when we went to the Caribbean, there was a lady who was 80, I think, I want to say she was 84 or 85. And she just lives on the ship. Have you thought about that?
I know quite a few people who
There's
have done
quite a
that
few
kind
that
of
do
thing.
it, right?
That do
Yeah.
it. Well, the Panama Canal cruise was 14 days. And what I found out was that's not a life I can live.
You don't like the cruise life.
The cruise life
Yeah.
was not. I like my little house that I have. I like taking care of it. I have a lot of people call hobbies, things that I do. I knit, I crochet, I do diamond art, which has become sort of an addiction. Which, if no one knows what it is, it's sort of like color by numbers, but with the little beads that
Yes.
glow.
Little
So
tiny
it's fun.
ones.
So I've been doing that. I like doing things with my hands. And in the cruise life, talk about boring. I mean, yes, they have things going on from time to time. You spend most of your life eating, but it was very monotonous after a couple of days. So no, I couldn't do the cruise life.
No.
That 14 days really taught me that. It's
it was-
not my
yeah.
life.
Yeah, I don't know that it could be for me either. But I did meet people. There was another man who was younger. But I think he was a gigolo, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but he was on his fourth one in a row. And I thought, well, how can you afford to do that? But yeah, he had fun. He had fun. I'll just say that. I always saw him having fun. It wasn't always with the same lady, but he was always having fun.
I met someone who does that.
Is a gigolo? Really?
Yes.
On the cruise, on the last one, or was this another
No,
time?
this was a cruise I
Oh,
went
tell
on.
me about it. Tell me about it.
I went with my daughter-in-law on a cruise, and you're talking about this. And there was a man there, and he does this. He goes places and picks up women.
And that's just
Not in a negative sense. He
because
he
a
was
lot of
fun.
women just want someone to talk to
Yeah,
them and
he
dance
was
with them
fun and did
enjoy the
dance.
time
He
together.
was a lot of fun. He
Yeah.
was a very interesting person. But that's what he did. He went from place to place. Not just cruises. He went. He took the Orient Express, the train. He was very, very interesting person. So there are people that do that. Yeah.
Hey, more power to them, I suppose, right? If you're not hurting anyone.
Well, I don't know. You know.
Why don't you tell us what you ended up doing for a living? And then at the same time, why don't you tell us what did you think you were going to grow up to be versus what you ended up doing?
Well, I don't know that I had any thought about what I was going to do. We used to take these, in school, you would take these tests that were supposed to tell you what you were going to be.
Placement tests.
Yes, and they said I was going to be a teacher, which I did not end up doing. They also told me that I was terrible at numbers, to stay away from anything that was numbers, and I ended up being an accountant. So that goes to show you
How good
those placement tests were. Although I think accounting is more creative than people give it credit for. So I ended up going back to college in my 30s, because in between I got married and had kids, did the usual things. But I went back to school in my 30s and got an accounting degree, started my own business, and loved every minute of it. But what I loved about it was I worked mostly with small businesses. So what I loved the most about it was seeing someone in their business and being to help them, not just with the numbers, but what the numbers told them about what they needed to do to make their business successful. So doing the numbers, having the balance sheets and the things you need to get your loans was fine. But actually knowing where their money was going and how successful they were at using that, and helping them with the other things that helped, how to attract customers, things of that sort, how to make their business really work was what was fun about it. That's why I loved working with small businesses. So I had an accounting business for several years, with several employees. I did a lot of tax work. I actually was an enrolled agent with the IRS, which means that I could help people if they were having difficulties not only doing their tax returns, but if they needed to negotiate with the IRS about problems they might be having. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot. But tax season got to me after a while. I mean, it's from January to April, you have no life. I mean, it was 12-hour days and just no life. So eventually I did sell that business. I went to work as an accountant for a large startup company, and did that for a while. Got a little bored with that because it was just one organization and I wasn't having much effect on it. Had the opportunity to go to work as a government contractor and got to travel. So for several years, I was working primarily with the Navy and the Marines, going on site and helping with organization. In other words, mostly I worked a lot with depots. So going in, looking at what wasn't working, the same kind of work I had been doing as an accountant, going in, looking at it as a project manager for a group and helping them to be the most efficient they could be. But what it meant was that for 10 years I could travel. I traveled anywhere where there was a Navy base, which was terrific. Hawaii, Guam, all of the United States.
Is beautiful.
Guam is beautiful.
Yeah.
All of the United States. So that's what I did up until I retired.
Wow. That's
So
pretty cool.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it got to travel. Because you've traveled all over that with work. You've traveled on your own, and then you've also traveled in RVs all over the United States,
Yes,
right? Have
yes.
you been to? You've RV'd to every state, is that correct?
Oh, yes, all the states in all of Canada.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
You did that sometimes with husbands.
One husband.
One
Come
husband.
on.
Oh,
The
so all
only
the
one
traveling was with
The
one?
RVing
Okay.
was with one husband.
Okay.
So, yes, we traveled for 4 years all over in an RV. And that was, this country is so amazingly beautiful. Every single state is its own topography, its own colors, its own people.
It's amazing how different it is,
Yeah,
right?
it really
Some look
is.
similar, but like when I traveled from Arizona, I flew from Arizona to South Dakota, and then we traveled to California in the RV from South Dakota. I was amazed. It was beautiful because I'd never really traveled. I mean, I had traveled cross country when I was a child, but I don't remember it. And so when we did that, it amazed me the colors of
That's what it is.
of nature. Nature is just so beautiful. And the colors of the mountains are different colors, and it was just
I know.
amazing. All of the different things seen coming back.
It was. I never knew there were so many different shades of orange and purple and pink.
Right? It's amazing.
And the rock formations.
And the topography, it's all different.
Yes,
Everything, it's just so different. It's amazing. And you can just be like, it can be a short little travel too. You just be in one kind of environment, and then you just like travel 5 miles, and it changes. It's amazing. It is an amazing country. Yeah.
Or you can go through Texas or the Dakotas and realize that you can go a day and maybe not even see another car on the highway, let alone another person.
I know. Texas is amazingly huge. It surprised me when we moved here.
It is
how big
amazing, isn't it?
It's huge.
And when there is a sign that says no gas for the next 50 or 60 miles, they aren't kidding. Not only no gas, no people.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, no turnoffs either. That's what's crazy too. You can't you turn off and you have to go like 3 miles before you can take another exit and turn around. It's horrible. Couldn't believe that on the freeways because ours, California, Arizona, it's like every mile, every half mile, there's an exit. But It's crazy.
It is
Yeah.
very different.
Yes, yes.
I always tell people it's well worth seeing this country. It is
Yeah, it is
really well
to
worth
see the
seeing this
different
country.
places. Yeah, and people are different, but they're the same. It's amazing to me. Like I've had my group of friends I have in California and in Arizona and then here. Everyone's different, but they're the same. You kind of have similar personality types, I think, and that kind of enjoy each other. But I've enjoyed meeting a lot of people here, and I have a large social circle here that I'm probably the largest I've had since high school, I think. So now as you've told us, you're turning 80. So there must be some things that you think of now that seemed important to you in the past, but are now insignificant. Can you think of anything that might fit that?
Well, there are so many things that were important when I was younger. I mean, first of all, raising kids, there's everything that goes with that. Jobs, all of the stress involved with having a job, dealing with bosses, dealing with other people. And then all of a sudden, all of that is gone. That's not of interest anymore. So I think what's come with that is incredible peace. Mm-hmm. Each day passes with peace that I never had before.
You think before when you worked and you had children and everything and you
Mm-hmm.
had responsibilities other than just yourself?
Or even when I first divorced. I divorced when I was 72. Unfortunately, I had been with my husband for 25 years, but he hit a point where he was so uncomfortable in his life at that point that he was no longer a kind person, and I couldn't be around him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I can't spend the last few years of my life with someone. We had been wonderful traveling, but then he wasn't in good enough health to travel anymore. So then he didn't know what to do with himself.
And that kind of bled over into everything.
Yeah, it did. He wasn't kind anymore. And I couldn't think of living the last few years of my life like that. So we divorced amicably. But suddenly I was 72 and divorced, and feeling that sort of, I wanted affection at that point. We had not been affectionate toward each other for a while, and I was really feeling the need for affection at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking 72, old, wrinkled, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be at all interested? But what I found was that I was an interesting enough person that I did not have any trouble. And I was fortunate enough to meet a couple of men who made me feel good about myself again.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was affection in my life again. There was love, romance, all of those things that I thought were never going to happen anymore. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There. So I had some good times, some really good times with that. And just, I think I felt, and it sounds so silly because I felt attractive during those years, which really surprised me. And it was fun to dress up and to go out and have fancy meals, meet new people. So it was fun.
So what within you, I think that you're one of the strongest people that I know, but I want to know for you, what do you think, if you can go back and maybe think, what gives you the strength to do that? Because there are a lot of women who are in relationships like that, say for example, that they just don't feel that they're not getting their needs met, right? But they don't have the courage to leave. They don't have the courage to move on. And I'm not saying you shouldn't try to work something out. If something can be worked out, that's great. But I think that there are things that come to an end, right? I think relationships come to an end, and you just shouldn't be in them anymore. What gave you the courage, though, to be able to do that for yourself? Because you did it for yourself.
I'm a survivor. I was started working very early. I think first babysitting job when I was 9. My first job in a soda shop was when I was 14. Saved up car for enough money for a car by the time I was 16. Left home when I was 17, when you could still get a job. They didn't check whether you were 18. Moved to D.C. from Massachusetts. Worked for the airlines. Got married. Had kids. Raised 2 kids by myself. I have never been someone who thought that everything was not going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've always known I could do it. I could make it okay.
Just something in you knew, no matter what, I can make this okay.
Yes, I don't know if it's just having done it all my life, but I've always just known it's going to be okay. I can always do it. I will always find a way.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. I guess I feel a little bit that way in myself. Like, I can always, like, I'll figure it out. You kind of like, I'll figure it out a way to do it. Sometimes you have to ask for help, though. I'm really bad about that. I'm really bad about just pushing through and saying, I'm just going to do it myself because, I don't want to ask for help, or I don't want to put you out.
That I know about you, yes.
Yes, I'm bad about that. I'm really bad about saying no, so that's a hard one for me. But what kind of advice could you give me to help me say no? That would be good. What kind of advice can you give for that? Because you don't do anything you don't want to do. That's one thing about Grace. If Grace says it, she means it. And if she doesn't want to do it, she ain't doing it.
Well, I think I try.
You do try new things. You came to our Bunko group the other day for the first time.
Yes, I do try.
You do.
But then I make my own decisions about where I want to spend my time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not someone who... I'm very comfortable being alone. And I know that's not something that I think a lot of people found out in the pandemic, how difficult it is for some people to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
I am not uncomfortable being alone. So I can make decisions about where I spend my time. So, yes, I love to try things. But if it's not working out for me, I don't have any problem not doing it anymore. Like you say, saying no. Well, no, it's just who I am. I mean, it's not necessarily a good thing. It doesn't, it means I'm not necessarily a good listener or very good about, I like to help people. I like to be there for people. But they need to be people who are willing to put their 50% in coming back.
Relationship, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like for me, you've become someone very important to me in a short amount of time. And I think that I appreciate everything that, just watching you live your life helps me. I'm learning. I'm learning, more about myself, more about how to say no, more about, using my time wisely, right? And giving my time properly. But you say you're not a good listener, but you are. When you make me feel so comfortable. I feel like I could tell you anything, always, and I can ask you any advice, and you're always going to tell me the truth, even if it's, not pretty. And I appreciate that, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people will not tell the truth, and they're not authentic. And I think for myself as I've aged, that's what's become so important to me, is finding people who are, like, authentic, and who I can be authentic around. That appreciate me for me, and not what I can do for them, because I am a doer, and you know that, and that sometimes people can take advantage.
Yeah, and I think what I love about that is, I look at you and the love that you bring to situations, and it reminds me to bring love myself.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I know one thing is that I never break a confidence.
I think that's important. I think that's important
That's,
because
if you want to talk to me about things, you want to say things to me, you can be assured I will never repeat anything. And when I find other people don't respect that about me, that's a pretty instant end to a friendship. If I find I've said someone I thought
that you
was,
had the confidence that you
I had the
confidence
confidence
in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
to tell them something, and then I find out later it was repeated, that's the end of that friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important to be able to respect someone else's feelings and thoughts. Never, never repeat them.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Well, and they're telling you that, like you said, in confidence. Someone's telling you something as a friend, right? You're discussing things as a friend. It shouldn't go further than that.
Especially if they're pouring out their thoughts, their heart.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Grace. So, if you say you have a wobble in life, right? Something happens that wobbles you, throws you off balance a little bit. How do you recover and ground yourself? Get yourself back to the all forward Grace.
I think the thing is that I love life. I mean, I just love life. I love sunrises and sunsets and just people smiling. I've always been an optimist, so I, I, well, I put enough routine in my life. There is a lot of routine, and I like routine. And so if things start going wrong, I think routine saves me. I mean, I can just do the things I know
That you normally do.
I like
and
to
it
do
gets you
every
back
day. I
in.
like to walk. I like to walk.
You walk miles a day, right?
Yeah, but I walk outside. I want to see the world. I don't particularly
You're not
care
gonna do a
for
treadmill.
treadmills or anything of
Yeah.
that sort. I need to be out walking because I enjoy it. I enjoy that. So when I get up each day, I know there are certain things I'm going to do during the day and I'll take pleasure out of them. But I've always been an optimist. I've always been happy. There's always a part of me that is just happy to be alive.
And that's just how you've always felt. You don't remember like when that came about? You just
No, I
always felt
think,
that way.
to the best of my knowledge, I've always been that way. My husbands used to say I smile too much.
How can you tell someone they smile too much? That's awful.
I think what they meant was I was hard to live with because I wasn't hard to live with, if that makes any sense. I'm not. I mean, I'm the easiest person in the world to be around. I don't delve deep into feelings. I'm not dramatic.
No, you're definitely not dramatic.
I don't fight. So they thought, I guess I was boring to be around as a wife.
They wanted the fight, maybe, huh?
Yeah, there are a lot of people that
There are a lot of men
do.
who do. I think, yeah, they crave that, yeah.
They want the drama, and I wouldn't deliver the drama. I've never been someone who was dramatic. That means that I don't necessarily, as I said, I don't fight. Nothing, I've never found anything worth fighting about or being dramatic about. I'm a private person.
You're
So
private
my feelings are mine.
That's fair. I'm an overshare, so see, there's, those. We're different.
I know, I don't find you overshare.
You don't find me as an overshare? Oh, I think so. I think I talk too much and I overshare, but it is who I am, so there is that.
It is what we love about you.
Oh, thank you. So is there anything that you would say you still want to try, or something that you've always thought would be interesting to do and you haven't done it? Or have you pretty much done everything you want to do?
I've always said I'm very fortunate that if this were my last day on earth, I can say I have been so fortunate, seen so much, done so much, been happy that I feel like I've lived a good life, but there's always something new to do. I still have things on my bucket list. I'd love to see the Northern Lights. I want to go to Portugal. Who knows why? So I mean, there's still things. There's always something. Or someone will walk by and suggest something, like going to Bunko. That is a new experience. And so I'm always open.
And you try things. I think that's amazing that you still try things.
Oh yeah, I'm always open.
Yeah, you're always open to trying new things. Yeah. If you don't like it, you're done. But you try it. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's awesome.
Depends on who asks.
There is that. That's true.
Some people just kind of bring you into the fold, like you do, my Amy.
So let's see. What would be if there's a woman who's struggling right now with, say, with a husband and in a relationship that's dead, and she doesn't feel that her own strength in her own self, that she has the courage to take that step and go on her own, be on her own. There's some because of, say, financial reasons or whatever. What would you say to someone like that may help them, that from your experience you've learned?
One thing, the one advice I would give any woman is always have a skill, have something that makes money, because you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think that's what keeps women in situations the most, is that they gave up on their careers and didn't keep the doors open, because you never know when you're going to need to go through it. But also that there's help out there. It's very easy to be in a situation to think that there's no help, that there's no way out. But there is help. You need to be ready to ask for it or find it.
Reach out.
But the biggest one is don't leave yourself. Don't leave yourself without a backup plan. It sounds, I suppose it sounds terrible, because when you get married, you're so full of hopes and dreams, and you think everything's going to be just fine.
And that's wonderful. And sometimes it is. And sometimes
But
there are things that happen.
I met someone the other day who's been married 75 years.
Oh, wow.
You know, and they're happily married. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that for your own peace of mind, and also that you always have a backup plan.
And take risks, I think. That was one thing. You helped me have the courage to do this. Yeah, you did. Because I know deciding to do this, I thought I was crazy. And I know some people think I'm crazy. But, it's okay. Everyone, there's other people that do this, so it's fine. But you agreeing to do this and agreeing to be my first person and staying supportive the whole way through this it's been big to me. It really has meant a lot to me. I appreciate it.
I'm glad.
And I thank you so much for being my first guest. Okay, Grace. What would you say to someone who feels like they've lost their way? They don't have the optimism that you do to keep going, and they don't see things the way that you do. Maybe is there something that you could say to them?
That's an interesting question, because you're right, I can't. One thing I know is that you can't change another person. You can't change another person's life or make them change their life. You can sometimes totally accidentally change someone's life by something you do or say.
Absolutely.
Which is, that's why I try to be open to what people are telling me, because they need to say it. And sometimes that's the hardest thing, is to be quiet long enough to let them say what they need to say. But also because I'm someone who likes to fix things and arrange things, not to give people advice. People don't really want advice. Sometimes they just want to vent. People don't really want advice. They certainly don't want someone else's advice. So just to let people talk. But if you've lost your way, just to try to find something each day. I remember what comes to mind was a story that was told me about a man who was deeply depressed and couldn't find the way out of his depression. And he started just riding a bike each day. And he would just get on the bike and ride each day. And if he did nothing else that day, he never stopped riding the bike each day. And I think that's the kind of thing that stuck with me, was to find something each day and do it. Or find something each day that gave you pleasure. Never lose sight of the fact that life is beautiful. I know that's so hard when you're going through something difficult. Mm-hmm. But that life, we're given it for a short period of time, and it's beautiful, and try not to waste a moment of it.
Mm-hmm. So what brings out your Superwoman or your Wonder Woman? Something that you feel very passionate about? Is there anything you're like?
Injustice. That is the thing. Because I live in a small community, which the RV park is, we don't discuss religion and we don't discuss politics. I try to stay away from those topics because it's so easy to tread on someone else's feet.
Mm-hmm. And people get so emotional about those things.
But I am passionate about injustice. And I find this a difficult time to be alive because of what I see is so wrong right now about our country, about the way we treat children, older people, poor people. I don't know what's happened to the heart of this country. So in some ways, it is a difficult time to be alive for me. Mm-hmm. Because I can't do anything about it.
And that has to be very hard for you because of you being such an optimistic person. And
also because I was very politically active for many years. Mm-hmm. I mean, I worked for NOW in their office. I marched with them. I worked very, very hard for women's rights. And I see women giving up so many of those rights these days. And it's very difficult for me. Mm-hmm. I've found it's difficult because for a lot of years I thought I could make a difference, and now I realize I can't.
But I think you can make a difference even though you may not think you made a difference. You have, in the way that you've touched other people, right? And
individually,
made a
yeah.
Yes, individually.
Individual. But I used to think we could change the world. Mm-hmm. I was a child of the 70s.
Yeah.
And I thought there was going to be peace, and I thought there was going to be justice.
I think that's
and I don't
possible.
Understand. I've never been a prejudiced person. And so I don't understand a lot of what's going on in this country right now. So in that sense, it's difficult for me.
People aren't nice to each other right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that. And I don't understand. I don't. It's like, I'll go in somewhere and just start talking to someone. And I'll ask them how their day is. And I really mean it. I'm really asking you. If I didn't want to know how you were doing, I wouldn't ask you, right? And I actually stop and I listen to them. And it amazes people that someone will actually listen to them. But it's just so sad that people are just so... We all walk around because we have our own things going on, right? And we have our own problems, and we're angry, and we're whatever. And then we have this road rage, and we've got all this violence. And I don't understand. Why we have to be so mean to each other.
I think that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. I'm very thankful to have grown up and been younger in a different time.
And because you've seen so much. I mean, you were, as to say, for like women's rights.
I think after World War II, you have to understand women had been working through the war. Mm-hmm. And the generation of women in the 50s, I mean, you saw Donna Reed on TV, but that isn't really what women were in that time period. Women had been working through the war. Mm-hmm. And they had a great deal. They had to manage the house.
And
They
work.
had to pay
Yeah.
the bills. They had to raise the kids. That didn't disappear in 1950. The shows on TV were trying to make women feel that had disappeared, but it hadn't. So, and because I worked all the time, I even worked while my children were young, I always had my own bank account. I always had my own credit cards.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I think women are headed toward less freedom right now than any other time in a lot of years.
You think so?
Women are giving up things every day.
I think it's different. So like, for example, you and I say differently on traditional relationships or whatever, right? I want to talk about that though. Because I want to talk, how can we talk about the differences and how you feel? Let's just do that. How do you feel that's happening? That women are giving up their rights? What makes you say that? What would you use for examples that make you feel that way, that that's what's occurring?
I guess I see a lot more male chauvinism these days, and I see women putting up with it. I see women letting men dictate how many children they should have, whether they should continue working, how they dress. Lord, I hate seeing these long dresses again. I don't see women teaching their daughters to be strong. And I see them letting their daughters dress inappropriately, but not teaching them that math and science are important. I don't see them teaching their daughters to be strong, but I do see the men teaching their sons to be. And not everyone. There are differences, but I do see a lot more men being unkind to women. I see the music, particularly the country and Western music, with its concentration on women in bars and tight jeans, not respecting women. I'm seeing that. I don't see
Like the
respect for women.
over-sexualization of women rather than respect for them.
Not respect. So I think that's difficult.
I think we live in a difficult time. I think that's part of it. And it's so many things are changing.
Women are losing their rights.
I agree. I think everyone is. I think that's the problem. We need to stand together. Okay, so something that is important to me is that women are supportive of each other, right? I know we spoke earlier about having confidence and not, going behind and telling someone something someone told you, with, gossiping or that kind of thing, right? I think we need to be more supportive and not be, sniping at each other constantly. And unfortunately, I don't think it's just a young woman thing. I think it's an all women thing that unfortunately women do that. And I think that we need to come together because we do live in such a uncertain time. Things are crazy. People are losing rights. Like you said, women are losing rights in certain countries, certain states, things like that are being taken away from them. What do you think we can do? I know I always say I think that we should just completely abolish our government and have a council of grandmothers to run our country, and it would fix things. Truly, I do believe that.
Uh-huh.
So, what to you, do you see are the things that need the biggest change, that would have the biggest impact, you think, on changing things here for the better?
I have to admit that for my own peace of mind, I've had to give it up.
You've had to give up.
I have not had news on, had TV on, had anything to do with anything for 2 years. I've had to give it up for my own peace of mind because I don't feel I can change anything. I can change my interaction with you right now, but I can't change the world anymore. I've had to give that up.
And that's sad to me because I think, Grace, if we all really tried, but I don't understand that.
But who?
I know, that's the thing. There's no one that's gonna ride in on the white horse and save us, right? There's no one's coming. The aliens aren't coming to save us. I think they'd been here by now if they were.
I think if they've looked at our country, they
They would just
decided
say,
it wasn't worth
you
being
guys are
here.
such a mess, right? Yeah. Yeah, no, you guys figure it out for yourselves. No, thank you. We don't want anything to do with it. We'll clean up the mess when it's all over with. I mean, I wouldn't, but I don't want to give up the thought that we could have something beautiful, that we could have, say like Atlantis or something, where we're a peaceful time and technology and everyone has everything. I know, like, say for example, my husband thinks that someday we'll be like Star Trek, where we just all have a replicator and you can just say, I need this, and it just appears. And yes, if everyone had everything, if everyone's needs were met, I think we could have peace, right? I think we could have peace, but I don't know how we get to that. We don't have the technology yet, right? But I think that it's almost like I feel like we don't all have the courage to come together and fight the nasties and make things better.
I don't share your. One of the things that I know is that people have been who they were since day one when they came out of the cave.
Humans are humans, huh?
They are not going to change. There will always be war because men don't know any other way to be.
Grandmothers, that's what I'm telling you. We need a council of grandmothers.
But the men are still there, and they don't know any other way to be.
Anywhere.
So, no, and people will always be greedy, and greed is money, and that governs everything. There are people who just feel there is not enough, they can't have enough money. I've never cared about money, but there are people who do. It's their life. So I don't share any optimism about changing people. I think the thing that I miss the most, though, is I used to have heroes, and there are no more heroes, except in the comic books.
That's so sad.
There is no one I can point to now who is a hero. There were heroes. I mean, we used to have a Congress full of heroes. I know it's hard to believe, but we did. They cared. But we don't. Try to find a hero. Name me one person right now you would name a hero.
While you said that, I was sitting here thinking about it, and I really can't.
That you would look up to and would respect.
Not anyone in any kind of power. The only thing that I would think is the heroes are the everyday people who get up and
everyday
face
people.
the difficult
but we
days.
all need a hero. I mean, we need to feel that the people running our country are people we respect. And I've lost that. There were, when I've had in different points in my life, there were men in government I respected.
Well, and you've seen, like, protests. Say, for example, because people say, oh, well, we need to protest. That will do anything. I don't see that as doing anything. I don't think it does anything. I've seen protests in other countries for certain things going on. I've seen protests people have had here. And unless they turn violent, which nobody wants that, it doesn't seem like anything really comes of it.
The only thing that I see that is effective in any way is boycotting. I see boycotting as effective.
I think it would be effective. I do. And I've seen a few campaigns that people have tried to start over the years of, don't go to work, or, don't buy gas, that kind of thing, to try to boycott. And it just doesn't seem to catch on.
It needs to be monetary boycott. It needs to be. That kind of boycotting has made changes. It made changes to Walmart in providing benefits for their employees. When people started boycotting Walmart for the way they were acting, when they were establishing stores and taking people's homes away. That was a few years ago. There was enough. If you can get bad press,
Yeah, and I think with social media now, a lot of that happens, right? If something happens and you put it out on social media, then there's political, not political, but public pressure,
there can be
right?
some public
Some
pressure.
public
The
pressure.
problem we're running into now is that no one believes social media anymore.
Yeah, now we're at that point where you can't believe anything
You can't
see,
believe
you can't
anything
believe
you see or
anything you
hear.
read. I mean, it really is like you can go onto Facebook and there will be completely fake stories. Absolutely fake. And I don't even understand how they can do it. Right? It's very difficult.
I think
It's
that there's
difficult.
nothing to believe. And the worst of it now is the artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you see Trump dancing with Fred Astaire,
Right. And you know, yeah. Yeah.
you realize that's when I see something like that, I realize the extent to which I can dismiss it all.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not a scientific paper from Johns Hopkins about a medical, now say I do a lot of surfing for
I'm
medical
sure you read
problems.
a lot of white papers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, documentary type things.
Mm-hmm.
There's that to believe, but I don't do any social media
Yeah, I didn't figure that you did.
at all.
And you said you've like banned news and all that kind of thing too. So
I don't
you
watch
really
it.
know
Don't
what's
watch
going on.
TV. Nothing.
I just think it's just amazing, like you said, that it's just you don't know what's true anymore at all. Well, then they lie to us on the news too. You know, one channel says one thing, and the other channel says something completely
So I don't
opposite.
listen
So
to-
what's the point, right?
So I don't listen to any of them, and that
Yeah.
way I'm sure I don't get any bad information.
Yeah. See, I like information. I don't think any information is bad. I think all information is just information. It's what you do with it, right? So I like to gather it from everywhere. My information
Which is
from every
good. It's
side, every facet. That way I get, I can use my own discernment to decide what I believe and I don't believe, right?
And I think that that's a good way to do it. But most people want to be comfortable in their own community. So they go out and they find people that think exactly the way they do. And they all band together in their own little community so that they can talk about whatever they talk about to each other about the same things over and over again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they're comfortable because nothing changes in the conversation, which is why I don't go to a lot of things or
You're not a part of a lot of them because of that.
Because of that.
And I think that's so wrong. I think that if we all had the same opinions about everything and if we all felt the same way, how boring.
We are
boring.
We are tribal.
We are tribal, but I think that we
tribal.
need to intermingle more. And maybe that would help. I don't know, because we don't. We don't. And they encourage that, right? I think that I don't know who the bad guys are. I don't know who the baddies are, but there's a group of baddies, people we don't even know their names, I'm sure. And I think that they try to keep us in that kind of fighting each other kind of way. Because I think that we're more alike as humans than we are different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I think if we could just look at the similarities more so than the differences always, that would matter. But I don't know. I think we all want the same thing in the end, Grace. I really do. I think we all just want to be able to live out our lives and experience some of the things we want to experience and be left alone and not bothered and not have someone harm us, right? Or take our things or whatever. I think that we all want the same thing. It's just how to get there. That's ultimately the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And people have
we're gonna figure out the answer today.
No, dear. The 80-year-old me says, "I'm sorry, honey, but it's been this way for 10,000 years.
Nothing's changing.
Nothing changes. History will tell you, nothing has ever changed.
It's just a repeat of cycles.
It's just a repeat. We are still tribal. We still want to be
in the cave.
In the cave. No, we want to be with the people who are just like us. We don't want any ideas that make us think. We just want to be right there with those people exactly like us. Not everyone, but enough people to make a difference.
Yeah. Too many people to make a difference.
But that's unfortunately where I am at this stage. I want to take, in the few years I have left, as much pleasure out of my life as I can. And some of that just means ignoring this other stuff and living with the fact that I'm not going to save the world. In 1972, I thought I was going to save the world. I thought I was going to save no more war, women would have equal rights, they'd be paid the same amount of money as men to do the job, they'd be recognized. I thought all of this. But I know now. It's not going to happen in my lifetime. Which isn't to say I don't think you should be fighting for it. I think young women should be fighting very hard these days.
Yeah, I think that is important that we all work together, because that's what
And
I don't
teaching
understand.
their daughters, please teach their daughters.
Yeah.
Take that phone away from them.
Oh, the phones. Yeah, that's awful.
Teach their daughters.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's important. All right, Grace, I think that we're finished. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for joining me today, Grace. And thank you for joining us today on Along the Way with Amy. And I hope to see you joining us next time. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Thank you.